The cobblestones of Rome were slick with a cruel black ice on that bitter December night in 1842. Outside the heavy oak doors of the Convent of the Sorrowful Sisters, just a stone's throw from the heart of the Vatican, the winter wind howled like a choir of the damned. Then came the sounds that shattered the holy silence of the midnight hours. Heavy thuds, agonizing groans, and the brutal cracking of whips against flesh. When Sister Beatrice peered through the iron grate, in the dim lantern light, a man lay collapsed in the snow, his back a ribbons of crimson, weeping and crying out to God for mercy as cloaked figures vanished into the freezing fog. It was a perfect performance. The heavy doors groaned open. Moved by Christian charity, the nuns rushed out into the biting cold, lifting the battered stranger and carrying him into the warmth of the convent. They had no idea they had just carried the devil across their threshold. The unveiling in the infirmary. The stranger was laid upon a Spartan iron cot in the dimly lit, vaulted infirmary. The Mother Superior assigned Clara, a novice of 21, and Lucia, 22, to wash his wounds and tend to his fever. The rest of the convent retired to pray for the poor soul's recovery. Left alone in the flickering candlelight, the two young women set to work, cutting away the ruined, blood-soaked rags from the stranger's body. But as the cloth fell away, the horror and the intoxicating trap began to unfold. Where there should have been torn flesh and purple bruises, the skin began to knit together before their very eyes, leaving behind a flawless, golden expanse of marble-like perfection. The man stitches, exhaling a breath that smelled not of sickness, but of heavy myrrh, crushed roses, and sweet, burning incense. Clara dropped her sponge, her breath. Lucia stepped back, her hand flying to the crucifix around her neck. The stranger opened his eyes. They were not the dull eyes of a dying man, but twin pools of liquid gold, burning with an ancient, terrifying intelligence. He sat up, casting off the remaining sheets, completely unashamed of his majestic, naked form. He was taller than any man they had ever seen, his physique possessed of a terrifying, symmetrical beauty that seemed chiseled by a master sculptor, pulsing with a raw, masculine heat that radiated through the freezing stone room. "Do not fear, sweet sisters," Lucifer murmured, his voice a rich, velvety baritone that vibrated in their very bones, instantly dissolving their willpower. "You prayed for a miracle. Behold it." The fall of Clara and Lucia. The air in the infirmary grew thick and suffocatingly hot. The cold winter outside was entirely forgotten, replaced by a heavy, primal tension. Clara and Lucia stood frozen, trapped under his hypnotic gaze. Every vow they had taken, every prayer they had memorized, vanished from their minds, replaced by a sudden, aching desperation they had never known existed. Lucifer smiled, a wicked, knowing tilt of his perfect lips. He extended a hand, his long fingers trailing down Lucia's cheek. She, not from cold, but from an overwhelming surge of desire that flooded her veins like liquid fire. "You have locked yourselves away in darkness, denying the very flesh you were given," the Dark Lord whispered, rising from the cot. His magnificent, towering form stood completely bare before them, a testament to ultimate temptation. Let me show you the true ecstasy of the Spirit." Lucia sank to her knees, entirely consumed by the mesmerizing sight of his rigid, unyielding masculinity. The boundary between holy ecstasy and sinful damnation blurred completely. Guided by an irresistible, unnatural urge, her hands trembled as she reached out to explore the burning heat of his skin. Clara, weeping tears of pure, unadulterated lust, fell beside her, stripping away her own habit, casting off the heavy black wool that had shielded her from the world. One by one, the novices surrendered their innocence on that cold infirmary cot. Lucia was the first to offer herself, crying out in the mixture of sharp pain and blinding pleasure as she sacrificed her virginity upon his dark altar. Clara followed immediately after, completely intoxicated by the sight, craving the same wicked defilement. Lucifer took them with a slow, deliberate cruelty, thoroughly enjoying the shattering of their sacred vows as the dimly lit room filled with the sounds of heavy gasps, soft whimpers, and the undeniable scent of sin. The infection of the convent. But the Prince of Lies was not sated with the novices alone. The corruption that began in the infirmary acted like a psychic plague, seeping through the stone walls of the convent. As the night deepened, the rest of the sisters, from the young 18-year-old postulants to the austere 60-year-old elders who had spent decades in silent devotion, woke from their slumbers, driven by a sudden, maddening heat in their blood. One by one, drawn like moths to a blasphemous flame, they drifted into the infirmary. The scene that awaited them was one of pure Gothic horror and erotic madness. The novices lay spent and corrupted at his feet, and the devil stood waiting, his eyes flashing with triumphant malice. By the time the pale winter sun rose over the Vatican, the convent of the Sorrowful Sisters had completely fallen. No prayers were sung that morning, only the low sighs of a sisterhood that had willingly traded the kingdom of heaven for the burning embrace of the morning star.